Today we are studying 6th canto, 15th chapter. The saints Narada and Angira instruct King Chitraketu. Text 1. Sheshuka vacha uchrtu mritakopante patitam mritakopamam shokabhibhutam rajan bodhayanto saduktibi. Sri Shuddha Goswami said, while King Chitraketu, overcome by lamentation, lay like a dead body at the side of the dead body of his son, the two great sages, Narada and Angira, instructed him about spiritual consciousness as follows. Ko ayam syatava rajendra bhavanyamuna shochati tam chasya katam sprushto puredani mata param. O king, what relationship does the dead body for which you lament have with you? And what relationship do you have with him? You may say that you are now related as father and son. But do you think this relationship existed before? Does it truly exist now? Will it continue in the future?
The instructions given by Narada and Angira Muni are the true spiritual instructions for the illusioned conditioned souls. This world is temporary, but because of our previous karma, we come here and accept bodies, creating temporary relationships in terms of society, friendship, love, nationality, and community, which are all finished at death. These temporary relationships did not exist in the past, nor will they exist in the future. Therefore, at the present moment, the so-called relationships are illusions.
So, everything which is based upon material is temporary. And whatever is based upon spirituality, it is eternal. So, material relationships are temporary because it has no connection with Krishna. Like a woman, she took birth in some house, she grew up there, and at the suitable age, she gets married to a man. So as soon as she marries with the man, immediately all relatives who are connected with that man, they become her relatives, and vice versa for man. So before marriage, they were, took birth in some houses, they grew some houses, they had pain, pleasure before marriage, but that time they didn't share. Suppose wife's leg got fractured in her childhood, did the boy lament for that? No. He was happily enjoying in his own house. But as soon as they married, they got connected, immediately, even she gets fever, he has a tension. So this identification causes pain. Like there are so many cars in showroom, and people don't have any problem with those cars which are in showroom. But as soon as man purchases the car, he gets the key in his hand, then immediately he identifies with that car. Before purchasing that car, if that car gets bent, or a car gets drowned in water, or the showroom gets lit up by fire and the car gets burnt out, does that will affect any person? No. But as soon as one takes the key, purchases that car, immediately even a scratch will give him pain. So all these pains and pleasures are sign of one's attachment. If you are not attached, then it will not give pain. So what showroom car is an example. So same way our bodies also showroom bodies. There are 8.4 million bodies are there, and out of that, according to our karma, what price we have paid, the body we got, and that body is making us suffer or enjoy And on the top of this illusion, we create another illusion. A man thinks that he has produced a child. That is my byproduct. But he doesn't have any idea how he has produced. There is totally no idea he has. But still, he thinks that he possesses the another body which he fathered. So like that, the both parties are in illusion, and they are thinking he has given me birth and I am born from him. So that way they both are temporarily whatever the connections they have established, they are thinking it's a permanent. So before getting father, before getting child, these souls were in another bodies. They were perpetually existing. Not that after birth only the soul got manifested and at the time of death he has devastated, he has finished. That is not the scene. So to know this, one has to have a mind of Krishna consciousness. If somebody is God consciousness and he understands that Krishna is the father of everybody, Aham Bijas Prajapati. So Lord is seed-giving father of everybody. So any relation without Krishna is temporary. Because with our karmas are so different that we don't know when again we'll meet with these parents whom we think now mine or ours. So like in a river, some coconuts fall from trees and they come together and they move together for some time period and again they get separated. And there is no guarantee that they will meet again. So like that, the Kala is flowing in that some souls are coming together and for some temporary period they are flocking together and they are thinking, this is my family, this is my relationship, this is my wife, children, everything. And they float some time together and one by one, old people, they die, new people enter. And like that, the relationships are finished. So this temporary period of togetherness, they feel it is as an eternal connection. So that way, on material platform, we are not related to each other. So, but when we keep Krishna as center, then that relation becomes eternal, like spiritual master and disciple. Their relationship is eternal, because Krishna is eternal. Guru is representing Krishna, and he is connecting us to Krishna, and he is connected to Krishna. So to Krishna, any relations we make, that will not be temporary. So that's why for Vaishnava, not only his son is his son, not only his father is father, but for them, the whole world is a family, and every living entity is related to them, because they see that every entity has a Krishna's son and part and parcel. So that is a divine vision of a saintly man. Pandita, what is that verse? Brahmano. Can I say? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmana Gavyastin. So this is a Vaishnava vision. But now here Chitraketu Maharaj has gone in lot of lamentation because he is identifying himself with the body of his son. And the son has died, but he also took that situation to himself, and he also acting like a dead person, although he is alive. Text 3. Yatha prayanti sanyanti stroto vegena baluka sayujante viyujjante tatha kalena dehina. O king, as small particles of sand sometimes come together and are sometimes separated due to the force of the waves, the living entities who have accepted material bodies sometimes come together and are sometimes separated by the force of time.
The misunderstanding of the conditioned soul is the bodily conception of life. The body is material, but within the body is the soul. This is spiritual understanding. Unfortunately, one who is in ignorance, under the spell of material illusion, accepts the body to be the self. He cannot understand that the body is matter, Like small particles of sand, bodies come together and are separated by the force of time. And people falsely lament for unification and separation. Unless one knows this, there is no question of happiness. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, this is the first instruction given by the Lord. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara praptis dhirartasnana muhyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. We are not the body, we are spiritual beings trapped in the body. Our real interest lies in understanding this simple fact. Then we can make further spiritual progress. Otherwise, if we remain in this bodily conception of life, our miserable material existence will continue forever. Political adjustments, social welfare work, medical assistance, and the other programs we have manufactured for peace and happiness will never endure. We shall have to undergo the sufferings of material life one after another. Therefore, material life is said to be dukkhalayam asasvatam. It is a reservoir of miserable conditions.
So here the example is given about the sand particles. So in desert there are sand dunes. So sand dunes, there are so many. The door is open or what? So in sand dune, the sand particles remain together. How long? Till the time the next wave comes of air. As soon as again the air flows, the sand dune changes its shape and the sand dune shifts its place. So that time the two sand particles attached to each other, by the flow of the air, they will get separated. And like that there are millions and trillions of sand particles are there. So there is no possibility that one sand particle which was attached to another sand particle, they are going to meet again in future. So like that there are so many souls are there, sarvagata, the souls are everywhere. So they have come hardly now together, and when the time wave will come and they will get separated, there is no guarantee that when they will meet again. So that is the reality of material existence. So one should not lament for the separation which has happened, or one should not get elated for the union which they have, because all this is temporary. So what is permanent? The relationship with Krishna is permanent, and that relationship everybody should revive. And that is the responsibility of all realized souls, to give this understanding to their dependents. So real mother who reminds Krishna, she is real mother. The father who reminds her son about Krishna is real father. A spiritual master is a real spiritual master who reminds the disciple about Krishna. So all relations are real if they connect to real Lord. Otherwise, just attaching oneself, ourselves were temporary, then whom we are attaching, they are also temporary. So one or other person will get lost. But we get attached to Krishna, then automatically those who are attached to us, they will also remain attached to Lord. Like a powerful magnet. If a nail is attached to that magnet, then that nail also acts like a magnet. And other nails, they get attached to that nail, they will remain also attached to that nail. But as soon as the original nail, thinks that he is giving attachment to others, he is delivering others, and that way he gives up the attachment to that magnet, then what will happen? Not only he will fall, but all other nails which are attached to it, they will also fall down. So any spiritualist who is thinking that people are attached to me, why people are attached to you? Because they think you are attached to Krishna. They have innocent faith on us that we are attached to Krishna. So they want to get attached to us so that they will get attached to Krishna. But if we are not attached to Krishna, we are superficially showing off others to that I am attached to Krishna, then what will happen? we will also fall down to material world, and those whom we have attached, that those people also will fall down with us. So once Madhvacharya was traveling, and there he saw a snake was dead, and there were many ants, they were eating the snake. Then Madhvacharya told, this snake was earlier a spiritual master, and these ants are his disciples. The spiritual master accumulated many disciples, but he was not devotee of Krishna. He was not attached to Krishna. So all these followers have come back, and they are now biting him. So that's why it is very great responsibility of those who are, giving shelter to others. They should be careful that, I am giving shelter very magnanimously to others, but whether I am attached to Lord or my spiritual master, that one should check. Otherwise, our life only futile, then others' life what will make perfect? So that's why it's very big responsibility that every spiritualist, they should try to make one's life perfect, and then they should help others. Janma sarthak kari karapuruk. So we should be firmly situated in our spiritual understanding. If we ourselves are not firm with the understanding of spirituality, then we ourselves will be bewildered with the relationships with our fellow people, and we will become unnecessarily attached to them on bodily level, and then that will cause a lot of pain. And here Prabhupada is quoting about the example about Dehinosmi Nathade. So our own body has changed so many times. Like when we go home, we see our old clothes, like childhood clothes are there at suppose home. We see them. Now they don't fit to us. Like mother, she used to make us sit on her lap, but now we cannot go and sit on her lap. The body has changed, but mother still thinks that he is my child. She doesn't give her up. The mother changes diapers many times. She throws the diaper in the dustbin, but she doesn't throw the boy in the dustbin, because she knows that what is a temporary and what is permanent. So diapers are temporary. That's why she throws those diapers. But the boy, she knows that he is a permanent. So if you take this analogy at higher level, then what is a permanent? The soul is permanent. The body is also like diaper. It will get after some time unusable. We have to leave that body. So as a mother thinks that boy is important and the diaper is not important, same way the elevated spiritualist, they value the soul within that body, not the externals of that body. So for that reason, we value a Vaishnava, and we don't characterize the Vaishnava based upon his bodily formation, whether he's a black, Indian, Western, or he is small, big, nothing. We don't see external qualities of the Vaishnava. So what is important is whether he is surrendered to Krishna, whether he is attached to Krishna or not. So that understanding, with that understanding, any relationship we make, they will last long. यथा धानासु वै धाना भवन्ति च एवं भूतानि भूतेषु चोदितानि शमायया.
When seeds are sown in the ground, they sometimes grow into plants and sometimes do not. Sometimes the ground is not fertile and the sowing of seeds is unproductive. Similarly, sometimes a prospective father, being impelled by the potency of the Supreme Lord, can beget a child, but sometimes conception does not take place. Therefore, one should not lament over the artificial relationship of parenthood, which is ultimately controlled by the Supreme Lord. Good. Maharaj Chitraketu was actually not destined to get a son. Therefore, although he married hundreds and thousands of wives, all of them proved barren, and he could not beget even one child. When Angira Rishi came to see the king requested the great sage to enable him to have at least one son. Because of the blessing of Angira Rishi, a child was sent by the grace of Maya. But the child was not to live for long. Therefore, in the beginning, Angira Rishi told the king that he would beget a child who would cause jubilation and lamentation. King Chitraketu was not destined to get a child by providence or the will of the Supreme. Just as sterile grain cannot produce more grain, a sterile person by the will of the Supreme Lord cannot beget a child. Sometimes a child is born even to an impotent father and sterile mother, and sometimes a potent father and fertile mother are childless. Indeed, sometimes a child is born despite contraceptive methods, and therefore the parents kill the child in the womb. In the present age, killing children in the womb has become a common practice. Why? When contraceptive methods are taken, why don't they act? Why is a child sometimes produced so that the father and mother have to kill it in the womb? We must conclude that our arrangement of so-called scientific knowledge cannot determine what will take place. What is enacted actually depends on the supreme will. It is by the supreme will that we are situated in certain conditions in terms of family, community and personality. These are all arrangements of the Supreme Lord according to our desires under the spell of Maya, illusion. In devotional life, therefore, one should not desire anything since everything depends on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:11, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord, Krishna, favorably, and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. One should act only to develop Krishna consciousness. For everything else, one should fully depend upon the Supreme Person. We should not create plans that will ultimately make us frustrated.
So there is verse in Bhagavad Gita, Avyaktadini Bhutani, Vyaktamadhyani Bharata, Avyaktan Dhananeva Tatraka Pardevana. So sometimes some things we didn't had and we were very happy. But for short period we get something and we get attached to it. And later on that thing is taken away from us, then we become more miserable. So what is the difference? Earlier we had that thing, we didn't have that thing, and now also we don't have that thing. But there is a difference. We were happy before and now we are miserable. Why this happened? Because we got carried away by the attachment. For the time being, temporarily the thing was with us. So this is happening with us now and then. Like suppose we get a mobile. Before mobile we were happy, but as soon as we get mobile and that mobile is lost, suppose somewhere, then we become more miserable actually. Our state is same. Earlier we didn't have, now also we don't have. But now we are suffering and feeling the separation of that particular thing. So like that, suppose somebody makes us some HOD of department. So earlier we were happy without any post. But after we get post, we get attached and suddenly they change our position. And again we become normal devotee suppose. Then that time to chant also becomes very difficult. We always remember our previous, like people respect you. When you are post, people respect you. But as soon as you lose your post, nobody will ask you. So these respects, these attachments are temporary. And gopis give some 10 examples how these material possessions are temporary. So I will share that with you. It is in, we'll search Haribol. Mm. It is in 10th canto, I think in Venugit. Search, browse. Venugit is 21st chapter. Okay. Mm. The guest leaves, guest is Atithi. Like there are examples, student भी नहीं क्या?
Guruji, 10:47:8.
10:47:8. Okay. हाँ ठीक है. So see how many examples are there. खगावितफलं वृक्षं भुक्त्वा चाथितो गृहं दग्धं मृगास्तथारण्यं जारा भुक्त्वा रता स्त्रियं. इसके पहले भी है क्या? हाँ इधर से चालू होते हो. फ्रॉम इट बिगिंस फ्रॉम हियर. अन्वेष्वर्थ कृता मैत्री यावदर्थ विडम्बनं पुंभिः स्त्रीषु कृता यद्वत् सुमनस्विश्व षट्पदे. The friendship shown towards others, those who are not family members, is motivated by personal interests, and thus it is a pretense that lasts only until one's purpose is fulfilled. Such a friendship is like an interest man takes in woman or bees in flowers. Niswam tyajanti ganika akalpam nrupatim praja adhita vidya acharyam Rityajo datta dakshinam. Prostitute abandons a penniless man, subjects an incompetent king, students their teacher once they have finished their BVRE course, their education, and priests a man who has remunerated them for sacrifice. Khagavitaphalam vruksham bhuktva chathito gruham Dagdham mruga tatharanyam jara bhuktva ratha striyam. Birds abandon a tree when its fruits are gone, guests a house after they have eaten, and animals a forest that has burned down, and a lover abandons the woman he has enjoyed, even though she remains attached to him. So like that, these are the attachments in this world. They are so fragile, so temporary, so motivated, and they are so capturing to conditions to souls to stick to each other and forget Krishna. So the eternal attachment which is there with us, which we have to revive, for that we are least bothered about. And we take so seriously the temporary relationships which are going to lost in due course of time, you know. So this is what a surprising thing. So unless until we don't advance in our consciousness and we don't advance in our relation, we will get carried away with this temporary attachments. Either we'll become part of attachment to somebody else, or we become subject for somebody else's attachment. So these both are going to give us suffering only. So real attachment to Vaishnavas, real attachment to Krishna is eternal, you know. And there we are not at all attached. We are most detached from Lord, and we are most detached from the relationship with Vaishnavas. And we run behind the temporary attachments and take that attachment very seriously. Sometimes people give up spiritual attachment for the temporary attachment. You know, there are many spiritual, practitioners. When some woman says, "You are only my shelter," immediately he takes that responsibility on his shoulder, and he gives the responsibility of disciple at once. So what is that? The eternal relationship with spiritual master he is abandoning, and now he is getting carried away with the temporary relationship with the woman. And later on, after marriage, they get so much frustrated that they don't want to see each other's face. They want to give divorce in court. They put such a file. They file such a cases where they fight like cats and dogs. So where their love has gone, for which this personality has left spiritual master or Krishna. So it is so temporary, and that attachment gives such a pain that we cannot imagine. So Purava, when he got attached to Urvashi just for time being, just to spend time on earthly planet, because she was cursed by Ashwini Kumaras, she just came here on earth to just spend some time. And for her, for her fun, she got attracted to Purava because he was the best amongst the human species, human beings. So much so that he was helping the demigods also. So just casually he got attached to him, and before only she gave him a sign that one day I will leave you. But Purava, thinking that she has taken my shelter, he was ready to fulfill all her, request. She told that I want to eat in ghee. He said yes, because he is a king. That's not difficult for him. Second, she told that I don't want to see you naked unless until we have union. He said okay. Third, she told that I have these 2 lambs, they are like my babies. You have to protect them. So just for that attachment, he was so much ready to sacrifice everything. And he enjoyed with her day and night. And the time came, in Indra's assembly, he was missing Urvashi. He told the demigods to go and get this Urvashi. So they came down and they set a plan how to get her. So first they stole the lambs, and Urvashi, she pricks Maharaj Pururav with such a heavy words that we cannot imagine. He has conquered 10 directions. Such a qualified man, she calls him as a eunuch. So, that like from bottom till the head, he got rebuked with like example is given here. A mad elephant, when it is hit by the rod, Ankush, that time how much he gets a pain, that much pain Purava got. And this lady enjoyed with him. He fed her ghee so many days. At least she should have some courtesy for him. No, she was not at all attached to him. But this fellow was thinking that she is attached to him. And that's why when these words came like a thunderbolt, he did not care whether he's wearing clothes or no. He naked only went out in search of the lambs. And he got successful also. And he brought them also. For the task which she rebuked him, he has completed successfully. And he has came back with the success. But Urvashi drops another bomb on him. She tells, I saw you naked now. You broke my promise. And I am going. And she does Tata and she goes. So can you imagine? This person is so noble. He has such a character. He is so true with his promises. He is such a moral and all that. And such a person is getting, she is leaving him like a toilet paper. She just used and now she's throwing. So that time, he was devastated. He was like behaving like a madman. He is roaming around whole earth like a madman. A man who had such a great control on entire planet Earth, just because of this lady's attachment, and she got detached from him, he became practically mad. Our Goswamis, they travel everywhere. They chant Hera De Vrasdevi Kis, But this Purava is calling out, hey Urvashi, where are you? And like that. So this potency of getting attached to Krishna is misutilized by getting attached to this Urvashi. And later on, Urvashi only teaches him that what is the nature of woman. So this is a reality of this world. So we should not get attached to anything. So there are examples given how selfish the relationships are in civilization. And there is no fault. It's a reality. We should be ready with this. We should not feel it's happened with me only. No, it happens with everybody. This is the nature of this world. If you are not useful, you will not get any favors. Like a cow which gives milk, she gets the jaggery, she gets the special, food items, special grass, because she is giving milk. As soon as she stops giving milk, the owner doesn't mind to send her to slaughterhouse. So that is the way of material relationships are. But spiritual relationships are not like that. They are eternal, and nobody should have fear that we will lose our spiritual relationships. So we should try to revive that relationships rather than this material temporary relations and get carried away with it. What is verse number? Seven? Huh? Vayam cha tvam cha ye che me tulyakala sharachara janma mrityo yatha pashat pange neva madhuna pibho.
O king,
Read it. Okay. O king, I will read translation. O king, both you and we, your advisors, wives and ministers, as well as everything, moving and non-moving throughout the entire cosmos, at this time are in temporary situation. Before our birth, this situation did not exist, and after our death, it will not exist, no longer. Therefore, our situation now is temporary, although it is not false.
The Mayavadi philosopher say Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Brahman, the living being, is factual, but his present bodily situation is false. According to the Vaishnava philosophy, however, the present situation is not false but temporary. It is like a dream. A dream does not exist before one falls asleep, nor does it continue after one awakens. The period of dreaming exists only between these two, and therefore it is false in the sense that it is impermanent. Similarly, the entire material creation, including our own creation and those of others, is impermanent. We do not lament for the situation in a dream before the dream takes place or after it is over. And so, during the dream or during a dream-like situation, one should not accept it as factual and lament about it. This is real knowledge.
So in India, there are so many forts are there. If you go and visit the forts, now we see they are abandoned. But once upon a time, for that fort, so many people sacrificed their lives. So many people got killed. So many times forts conquered by different kings. They were thinking the fort is mine. But now the fort is there, but they are not there. So many people mark the lands. They say, this is my land, this is my land. But the land is there, but the people are not there. So like that, we think this is mine, that is his, and we may create enmity and favor. But after 100 years, nobody will be there. So why we should take these things seriously? And we are not taking seriously the thing which is supposed to be taken seriously. So that is very astonishing. When Yamraj asks Yudhishthira Maharaj, what is the most astonishing thing? So he answers that so many people are dying in every moment. But those who remain, they are thinking they are not going to die. So that is surprising. So as soon as we will remember that I am going to die, then we will not envy anybody. Because what is the use of envying anybody? After our death, everything will be finished. So that way we should understand what is temporary, what is permanent, and that way we should try to invest our consciousness in that activity, particular activity. So I will show one PPT I have prepared. How to share? Okay. So this words comes in Garud Puran. Yo dhruvani parityajya hadhruvani nishchevate dhruvani tasya nashanti hadhruvam adhruvam nashtamevacha. So which is permanent, that we give up. Okay. And what we do? We invest in adhruvam, which is temporary, in that we invest. Then what happens? Dhruvani is lost. Because we have not utilized Dhruvani. So it is lost. And adhruvam, temporary, is anyway going to get lost. So if somebody gives up spiritual life and embraces, invests in material life, then what happens? His spiritual account is empty, and whatever he has, whatever he earned in temporary life, that will become null and void at the time of death. So real intelligent person should decide where I should invest. And Krishna told which investment is eternal. What he told? Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayanu vidyate swalpamapisya dharmasya trayatum. So whatever investment we do for spiritual friendship, for spiritual relationships, that will remain that will remain permanent. But even if people become superstar and they are very attractive to everybody, but their attraction and those people and the people who got attracted to them, they all will be finished in the due course of time. But devotees are glorious for all together, like Jesus or Ramanuja, Prahlad, Prabhupada, all these souls who are attached to Krishna, they are now also recognized. But there were so many kings from that time till now, but hardly people know about them. So that's why we should understand for what we should lament and for what we should not lament. भूतेर्भूतानि भूतेश सृजत्यवतिहन्ति च आत्मसृष्टेर्स्वतन्त्रेर अनपेक्षोऽपि बालवत्. The Supreme Personality Godhead, the master and proprietor of everything, is certainly not interested in the temporary cosmic manifestation. Nonetheless, just as a boy at the beach creates something in which he is not interested, the Lord, keeping everything under his control, causes creation, maintenance, and annihilation. He creates by engaging a father to beget a son. He maintains by engaging a government or king to see to the public welfare. And he annihilates through agents for killing such as snakes. The agents for creation, maintenance, and annihilation have no independent potency, but because of the spell of illusory energy, one thinks himself the creator, maintainer, and annihilator.
No one can independently create, maintain, or annihilate. Bhagavad Gita therefore says, Prakriti kriyama nani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by nature. Prakriti, material nature, as directed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, induces all living entities to create, maintain, or annihilate according to the modes of nature. But the living entity, without knowledge of the Supreme Person and his agent, the material energy, thinks that he is the doer. In fact, he is not at all the doer. As an agent of the Supreme Doer, the Supreme Lord, one should abide by the Lord's order. The present chaotic condition of the world are due to the ignorance of leaders who forget that they have been appointed to act by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because they have been appointed by the Lord, their duty is to consult the Lord and act accordingly. The book for consultation is Bhagavad Gita, in which the Supreme Lord gives directions. Therefore, those who are engaged in creation, maintenance, and annihilation should consult the Supreme Person who has appointed them and should act accordingly. Then everyone will be satisfied and there will be no disturbances.
So, Krishna conscious king, he is only one who is doing welfare. Rest all other kings are doing only disturbance. So, devotee only can create some peace and prosperity and favorable situations for everybody. But if somebody is not devotee, then they are only creating disturbance. Like Hitler, he was so great orator that by his speech, by our speech, nobody becomes brahmachari also. But he was so powerful that he is speaking, and so many people were giving lives for such a person. So, from whom he got empowerment? He thought, I am destroying people. But he just utilized by Supreme Lord. So, these all positions, creation, maintenance, and annihilation, this is all Lord's function only. So, a real devotee, he takes side of Krishna and he tries to favor everybody to come towards Krishna. So, that favor a devotee should do on others. Otherwise, we will be utilized for creation, maintenance, and annihilation only. Dehena dehno rajan deha deho bijayate bijadeva yatha bijam dehartam yuvashashvata. As from one seed another seed is generated, O king, so from one body, the body of the father, through another body, the body of the mother, a third body is generated, the body of a son. As the elements of the material body are eternal, the living entity who appears through these material elements is also eternal.
From Bhagavad Gita, we understand that there are two energies, namely the superior energy and inferior energy. Inferior energy consists of the 5 gross and 3 subtle material elements. The living entity who represents the superior energy appears in different types of bodies through these elements by the manipulation or supervision of the material energy. Actually, both the material and spiritual energies, matter and spirit, exist eternally as potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The potent entity is the Supreme Person. Since the spiritual energy, the living being, who is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, desire to enjoy this material world, the Lord gives him a chance to accept different types of material bodies and enjoy or suffer in different material conditions. Actually, the spiritual energy, the living entity who desires to enjoy material things, it is manipulated by the Supreme Lord. The so-called father and mother have nothing to do with the living entity. As a result of his own choice and karma, the living being takes different bodies through the agency of so-called fathers and mothers.
So the parents and the mother and father, they are a secondary cause. But the primary cause is Supreme Personality of Godhead. That one should understand. So anytime we feel that somebody is giving me pleasure, somebody is making me suffer, so we take those people as our enemies and friends. But actually, they all are acting on behalf of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we should not blame to the people who are giving us torture. Neither we should get carried away for the people who are giving us some pleasure. But we should always thank Krishna, who is giving us whatever we deserve. And once we realize that, then we will not blame the situations, but we will take shelter of Supreme Lord. Deha dehi vibhagoyam aviveka krita pura jati vyakti vibhogoyam vibhagoyam yatha vastuni kalpita. Divisions of generalization and specification, such as nationality and individuality, are the imaginations of persons who are not advanced in knowledge.
Actually, there are two energies, material and spiritual. Both of them are ever existing because they are emanations from the eternal truth, the Supreme Lord. Because the individual soul, the individual living entity, has desired to act in forgetfulness of his original identity since time immemorial, he is accepting different positions in material bodies and being designated according to many divisions of nationality, community, society, species, and so on.
Okay. So like India and Pakistan, before division, they were, everything was India only. But only one line put between the country. Now they think I am Indian and he thinks I am Pakistani. Sometimes people say I am Kannadigas, but there are 2 generations before the forefathers were in Maharashtra, suppose. And they shifted that place and they born there. Now he identifies that I am this, I am that. So like that, the soul who temporarily identifies and forgets the eternal identity, then he will get carried away with these illusions. And he will harm himself and he will harm others also. Shri Shuka Vacha Evam Ashvasito Raja Chitraketu Dvijokti Vimrujya Panina Vaktram Adhimlanam Abhashata. Shri Sukadeva Goswami continued, Thus enlightened by the instructions of Narada and Angira, King Chitraketu became hopeful with knowledge. Wiping his shriveled face with his hand, the king began to speak. श्रीराज उवाच को युवां ज्ञानसम्पन्नो महिष्ठो च महीयसाम् अवधूतेन वेशेन गुडाव्य समागतो. King Chitraketu said, "You have both come here dressed like Avdhutas, liberated persons, just to cover your identities. But I see that of all men, you are the most elevated in awareness. You know everything as it is. Therefore, you are greatest of all great personalities. Charanti Havano Kamam Brahmana Bhagavat Priya Madrusha Gramya Buddhinam Bodho Yona Mattalingina." Brahmanas who are exalted to the position of Vaishnavas, the most dear servants of Krishna, sometimes dress like madmen just to benefit materialists like us who are always attached to sanctification. And just to dissipate our ignorance, these Vaishnavas wander on the surface of globe according to their desire. Kumaro Narada Rishinga Devulo Asit Apantaratama Vyaso Markindeyo Atha Gautama Vasishto Bhagavan Rama Kapilo Badarayani Durvasa Yadnavalkasya Jatu Karnastatharuni Romascha Chavano Datta Asuri Sapatanjali Rishirveda Shiradhomyo Muni Pancha Shikasthatha Hiranyanabha Kaushalya Shrutadeva Rtadhvaja Ete Parecha Siddhesha Acharanti Jnana Hetava. O great souls, I have heard that among the great and perfect persons wandering the surface of the earth to instruct knowledge to people covered by ignorance are Sanat Kumar, Narad, Rubhu, Angira, Devala, Asita, Apata Ratam, Vasudev, Markandeya, Gautama, Vashishta, Bhagavan, Parshuram, Kapila, Shukadev, Durvasa, Yajnavalkya, Jatukarna, and Aruni. Others are Romasha, Chavana, Dattatreya, Asuri, Patanjali, and great sage Dhaumya, who is like the head of the Vedas. The sages Panchashikha, Hiranyabha, Kaushalya, Rutadeva, Rutadhvaja, Shrutadeva, Rutadhvaja, you must certainly be amongst them.
The word Jnana Hetava is very significant because great personalities like those listed in 3 verses wander on the surface of the globe not to mislead the populace but to distribute real knowledge. Without this knowledge, human life is wasted. The human form of life is meant for realization of one's relationship with Krishna or God. One who lacks this knowledge is categorized among the animals. The Lord Himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Namam Duskritino Muda Prapadyantena Radhama Mayaya Pahirta Jnana Asuram Bhavamasritaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons do not surrender unto me. Ignorance is the bodily conception of life. Yasyatma buddhi kunapetri dhatuke sai eva gokhara. Practically everyone throughout the universe, especially on this planet Bhurloka, thinks that there is no separate existence of the body and soul, and therefore no need of self-realization. But that is not a fact. Therefore, all the Brahmanas listed here, being devotees, travel all over the world to awaken Krishna consciousness in the heart of such foolish materialists. The Acharya mentioned in these verses are described in the Mahabharatas. The word Panchashika is also important. One who is liberated from the conception of Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya, and who is perfectly aware of the subtle coverings of the soul, is called Panchashiksha. According to the statements of the Mahabharata, Santi Parva chapter 218, 219, an Acharya named Panchashika took birth in the family of Maharaj Janaka, the ruler of Mithila. The Sankhya philosopher Accept Panchasiksacharya as one of them. Real knowledge pertains to the living entity dwelling within the body. Unfortunately, because of ignorance, the living entity identifies himself with the body and therefore feels pleasure and pain.
So once a lion's cub, he lost the parents in the forest, and he joined the assembly of ships. And because of their association, he started eating grass. And he started making sound like them. And once, to these herds of sheep, the lion, they attacked, and all sheep, they ran for their life, including this cub. He also was so scared, and he also running and making the sound of the sheep. But the lion, they understood, he is not a sheep. He is our baby. So they caught hold him. They caught his neck. Still, after catching his neck, still he is making the sound of sheep only. Then they took him to near water, and they showed him his face in the water. And at that time, he realized that he is not a sheep, but he is a lion. And after that identification with the lion, he roared loudly, and he was no more sheep. So like that, every soul who is part and parcel of Krishna, when they identify with material elements, they have always this lamentation with themselves. But these sages who are called as Sinha Gurus, they come and they show that soul what he is. And then, when they realize what they are, they at once come out from the miseries which they are thinking they are suffering in. So that is a great favor done by the Vaishnavas. So before becoming devotee, we also identify with our body only. And we had so many problems in our life. But by the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada and all the other Vaishnavas, now we have realized that I am eternal soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So after realizing this, our action should be like the saintly people, not of that materialistic people. So there are three kinds of people. Some are unfortunate, those who don't come in touch with the devotees. And there are some are fortunate, they come in contact with devotees. Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan. But the third category is that even after coming in contact with such a fortune, if one doesn't utilize it and he doesn't take it seriously and he goes back to again material life, then there is nobody most unfortunate than him. Yeah. So saintly people like Angira and Narada Muni, they are traveling to revive our relationships with the Supreme Lord. So that is their duty. So gopis glorify them as a Bhurida Jana. Tava Katha Amrutam Tapta Jivanam. Everybody is suffering on the pan of material world. They are getting roasted left and right and everywhere. But these pure devotees, they come and they put in the ear holes the nectarian Krishna consciousness, the relationship with Krishna in our ears. Then immediately our hearts which are burning, they get pacified. So such a favor the pure devotees do. And we also who are representing pure devotees, we should also relieve from the suffering. Not that we add suffering in others' life. We should not become a cause of suffering to others or anxiety for others. But we should relieve them from their material pangs by giving them Krishna's shelter. So there is a beautiful verse in Bhagavatam. Janasya Krishnat Vimukhasya Daivat. क्या है वो?
अधर्मशीलस्य सुदुःखितस्य.
What is number, Haribol? This is 3.5.3. जनस्य कृष्णात् विमुखस्य दैवात् अधर्मशीलस्य सुधिक्कितस्य अनुग्रहाय चरन्ति नूनं भूतानि भव्यानि जनार्दनस्य. O my Lord, great philanthropic souls travel on the earth on behalf of Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to sense of subordination to the Lord. And this world, people are always suffering by past, present and future. They suffer by lamentation about the past. They have illusion of present and they are fearful of future. So this can be mitigated by hearing about Krishna's pastimes from the pure devotees of Lord. So which is that verse? Why this is coming in Tamil? यस्यां वे श्रूयमाणायां कृष्णे परम पुरुषे भक्तिरुत्पतते पुंसा शोकमोह भयापयः. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling of loving devotional service to the Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion and fearfulness. So this is a favor done by the saintly people, and for that they travel throughout the world. Text 16. Tasmad yuvam gram pashor mama mudha dhiya prabhu andhe tamasi magnasya nanadeepa udiryatam. Because you are great personalities, you can give me real knowledge. I am as foolish as a village animal, like a pig or a dog, because I am merged in the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, please ignite the torch of knowledge to save me.
This is the way to receive knowledge. One must submit oneself at the lotus feet of great personalities who can actually deliver transcendental knowledge. It is therefore said, Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jigyasu Shreyottamam. One who is inquisitive to understand the highest goal and benefit of life must approach a bona fide spiritual master and surrender unto him. Only one who is actually eager to receive knowledge to eradicate the darkness of ignorance is eligible to approach a guru or spiritual master. The guru should not be approached for material benefits. One should not approach a guru just to cure some disease or receive some miraculous benefit. This is not the way to approach the guru. Tad Vijnanartham. One should approach the guru to understand the transcendental science of spiritual life. Unfortunately, in this age of Kali, there are many bogus gurus who display magic to their disciples, and many foolish disciples want to see such magic for material benefits. These disciples are not interested in pursuing spiritual life to save themselves from the darkness of ignorance. It is said, Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. This gives the definition of the Guru. Everyone is in the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, everyone needs to be enlightened with transcendental knowledge. One who enlightens his disciple and saves him from rotting in the darkness of ignorance in this material world is a true Guru.
So here he is telling that although such a saintly people, they travel throughout the planet Earth. But I, having a mentality of a Gramya Pashu, I take them for granted and I don't take their advantage. So, like a woman who is staying on Malay hills for making chapati or bhakri, she will burn the chandan wood. Actually, the sandalwood is so costly that she doesn't know. So, like that, the modern times, people are utilizing their spiritual master to solve their tiny puny problems of material life. But they are not utilizing spiritual master or taking advantage of spiritual master to finish their birth and old age and all these material problems at once. So that is one side, you know. The guru is genuine, but followers are like pashus. And sometimes followers are very genuine, but whom they accept as spiritual master, that person is ignorant. He is a pseudo spiritualist. He gives them mantra, he gives them ashirvad, and he takes dakshina, but he doesn't enlighten them. So that person also, to get such a person also spiritual master is a misfortune of the genuine people. So both parties have to be very genuine in their attempt to uplift each other. You know, the spiritual master should help his disciples to uplift from their ignorance, and he himself should practice very ideal spiritual life. Otherwise, if he is himself is not following, then he cannot have right to say others to follow it. Shri Angira Vacha Aham te putra kamasya purto doasmya Angira nrupa Esha Brahma Sutta Sakshat Narado Bhagavan Rishi. Angira said, "My dear king, when you desired to have a son, I approached you. Indeed, I am the same Angira Rishi who gave you this son. As for this Rishi, he is a great sage, Narada, the direct son of Lord Brahma." So in this lamentation, it appears that Maharaj Chitraketu forgot also who was the Angira Muni. You know? So Angira Muni is reminding him that I am the one who gave you this Harsha. Ittam tvam putra shokena magnam tamasi dustare ata dharmanu smritya mahapurusha gocharam anugrahaya bhavata prapta va miha prabho brahmanyo bhagavat bhakto nava sadi tumarhasi. My dear king, you are an advanced devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To be absorbed in lamentation for the loss of something material is unsuitable for a person like you. Therefore, we have both come to relieve you from this false lamentation, which is due to your being merged in the darkness of ignorance. For those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge, to be affected by material loss and gain is not at all desirable.
Several words in this verse are very important. The word Mahapurusa refers to advanced devotees and also to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maha means the Supreme and Purusa means person. One who always engages in the service of the Supreme Lord is called Mahapurusika. Sukdev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit are sometimes addressed as Mahapurushika, Paurushika. A devotee should always aspire to engage in the service of the advanced devotees, as Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung. Tadera Charana Sevi Bhakta Saneva Janme Janme Haya Ei Abhilas. A devotee should always aspire to live in the association of advanced devotees and engage in the service of the Lord through the Parampara system. One should serve the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the instructions of the great Goswamis of Vrindavana. This is called Tandera Charana Sevi. While serving the lotus feet of the Goswamis, one should live in the association of devotees, Bhakta Sanevas. This is the business of a devotee. A devotee should not aspire for material profit or lament for material loss. When Angira Rishi and Narad saw that Maharaj Chitraketu, an advanced devotee, had fallen in the darkness of ignorance and was lamenting for the material bodies body of his son. By their causeless mercy, they came to advise him so that he could be saved from this ignorance. Another significant word is Brahmanya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is sometimes addressed by the prayer Namo Brahmanya Devaya, which offers obeisances unto the Lord because he is served by the devotees. Therefore, this verse states Brahmanyo Bhagavad Bhakto Navasaditum Arhasi. This is the symptom of an advanced devotee. Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma. For a devotee and advanced self-realized soul, there is no cause for material jubilation or lamentation. He is always transcendental to conditional life.
So now they are started, doing the surgery. The ignorance by which he is suffering, now they are trying to enlighten him and bring him out of that ignorance. So this is greatest favor a Vaishnava can do to others by giving them Krishna conscious knowledge and bringing them out of their material ignorance by which they are suffering now and then or always. Tadaiva te paradnyanam dadami gruhamagata jnatva te putrameva dadamyaham. When I first came to your home, I could have given you the supreme transcendental knowledge, but when I saw that your mind was absorbed in material things, I gave you only a son who caused you jubilation and lamentation. Aduna putrinam tapo bhavatevānubhūyate evam dara gruharayo vidhaishvarya sampada shabdadayasya vishaya aschala rajya vibhutaya mahirajyam balam kosho prutyamatya surujjana sarve api shurasenemi shokamoha bhayaartida gandharva nagara prakhya swapna maya manoratha. My dear king, now you are actually experiencing the misery of a person who has sons and daughters. O king, owner of the state of Surasen, one's wife, his house, the opulence of his kingdom, and his various other opulences and objects of sense perception are all like the same in that they are temporary. One's kingdom, military, power, treasure, servants, ministers, friends, and relatives are all cause of fear, illusion, lamentation, and distress. They are like Gandharva Nagar, a non-existent palace that one imagines to exist in the forest. Because they are impermanent, they are no better than illusions, dreams, and mental concoction.
This verse describes the entanglement of material existence. In material existence, the living entity possesses many things, the material body, children, wife, and so on. Dehapatya kalatritasu. One may think that this will give him protection, but that is impossible. In spite of all these possessions, the spirit soul has to give up his present situation and accept another. The next situation may be unfavorable, but even if it is favorable, one must give it up and again accept another body. In this way, one's tribulation in material existence continues. A sane man should be perfectly aware that these things will never be able to give him happiness. One must be situated in his spiritual identity and eternally serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a devotee. Angira Rishi and Narada Muni gave this instruction to Maharaj Chitraketu.
So, suppose there is a train which has nice coach, but it has no engine. So, whether that having that coach has any value? No value. But if there is a bogie which is general bogie, but it has a powerful engine, then even that general bogie reaches to destination. So that's why when we are guided by pure devotees and not trying to decorate the material circumstances which are not taking us to any destination, has no value actually. That's why those who take shelter of pure devotees, they only become purified. Kirat huna andra pulinda pulkasha abhira shumbha yavane khasadaya yannecha papa edapada shrayasya shuddhyanti tasme prabhu vishnuvenam. Even such a low category people also get the greatest fortune. They can perfect their lives by taking shelter of pure devotees. But having perfect bodies of high class birth as a king, opulence of king, will not yield any benefit if one is not attached to pure devotees. They will not reach to destination. Rather, they will continue in the repeated cycle of birth and death. That's why Vritrasura also prays that this samsara chakra, if one wants to cross, then what he has to do? What is that prayer? Vritrasura's first prayer. Oh, samsara chakra, where it comes this verse? What is the shloka?
611 Mamattam shloka Janesh.
6, 7.
11. Last 24. That's it.
So, if we want to come out this cycle of birth and death, this is a exit path. Okay. So in jail, which is the important part? The door which, the gate which allows them to go out. But people are not taking advantage of that door, but they are trying to put AC in the jail. They are trying to become minister in jail. Then what is the use actually? The important part is to exit out of that. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. These all are bondages. And what is exit path? Mama janmani janvisare bhautad bhakti rahetu kitu. That is the exit path to go out of this samsara chakra. Mama uttama shloka janeshu sakhyam sansara chakre brahmata swakarma bhir tvanmayatma jadaragehe ashakta chittasya nanata bhuyat. Now Chitrakuta Maharaj exactly caught himself with the child, with his boy. Oh my Lord, my Master, I am wandering throughout this material world as a result of my fruitive activities. Therefore, I simply seek friendship in the association of your pious and enlightened devotees. My attachment to my body, wife, children, and home is continuing by spell of your external energy. But I wish to be attached to them no longer. Let my mind, my consciousness, and everything I have be attached only to you. So, in friendship of devotees also, they should develop attachment to Krishna. Otherwise, if we are in association and we went to watch movie, then what is use of that association? That movie is, what was movie we saw? Mahavatar, then it's okay. But people think that we are in association, we are drinking, in association we are doing some nonsense. That is not association. In association, the important thing that what we do in association. In association, if you are gossiping, then that is not Vaishnava association. In Vaishnava association, we should remind each other about Krishna. Satam prasanga mamavir samvito bhavanti rutkarni rasayana. That is part of association. So, 24, no? Text 24. दृश्यमाना विनार्थेन न दृश्यन्ते मनोभवा कर्माभिधायतो नाना कर्माणि मनसो भवन.
क्या बोले थे? मतलब
These visible objects like wife, children, and property are like dreams and mental concoctions. Actually, what we see has no permanent existence. It is sometimes seen and sometimes not. Only because of our past actions do we create such a mental concoctions. And because of these concoctions, we perform further activities.
Everything material is a mental concoction because it is sometimes visible and sometimes not. At night, we dream of tigers and snakes. They are not actually present, but we are afraid because we are affected by what we envision in our dreams. Everything material is a dream because it actually has no permanent existence. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes as follows in his commentary. Arthena Vyagra Sarpadina Vinaiva Dushyamana Swapnadi Bhange Satina Dushyante Tad Evam Daradayo Avastava Vastu Bhuta Swapnadayo Avastu Bhutascha Sarve Manobhava Manovasana Janyatvan Manobhavaha. At night, one dreams of tigers and snakes, and while dreaming, he actually sees them. But as soon as the dream is broken, they no longer exist. Similarly, the material world is a creation of our mental concoctions. We have come to this material world to enjoy material resources. And by mental concoction, we discover many objects of enjoyment because our minds are absorbed in material things. This is why we receive various bodies. According to our mental concoctions, we work in various ways, desiring various achievements, and by nature and the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Karmana Daiva Netrena, we get the advantages we desire. Thus, we become more and more involved with material concoctions. This is the reason for our suffering in the material world. By one kind of activity, we create another, and they are all products of our mental concoctions.
So, here what is emphasized that this whatever we are suffering or enjoying, it's all in dream. Because soul is sleeping in deep, he has not identified his identification with the Supreme Lord. So he is just dreaming that he is enjoying his suffering, and that's why soul is sweating, But once somebody is awakened from dream, then he comes to his external consciousness, and then he at once remains, he is peaceful. So like that, when somebody awakens to soul consciousness, Brahma Bhuta, at that state, if somebody is awakened, then what happens? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochita na kankshati. So somebody has awakened to Krishna consciousness, then material situations, they don't affect them at all. They are indifferent to those material adorations or insults. They just become indifferent to it. They don't take it very seriously. So in conditioned state, we take spiritual life as a dream and material life as a reality. But actually speaking, this material life is a dream and spiritual life is a reality. Ayam hi dehuno deho dravyajnana kriyatmaka dehino vidvidascho santapa krudruha druta. The living entity in the bodily conception of life is absorbed in the body, which is combination of physical elements, the five senses of gathering knowledge, and five senses of action, along with the mind. Though through the mind, the living entity suffers three kinds of tribulations: adhibhautik, adhidevik, adhyatmik. Therefore, this body is source of all miseries.
In the fifth canto, 554, while instructing his sons, Rishabdev said, Asannapi kleshada asadeha. The body, although temporary, is a cause of all the miseries of material existence. As already discussed in the previous verse, the entire material creation is based on mental concoction. The mind sometimes induces us to think that if we purchase an automobile, we can enjoy the physical elements such as earth, water, air, and fire combined in forms of iron, plastic, petrol, and so on. Working with the five material elements, Panchabhutas, as well as with our five knowledge gathering senses like the eyes, ears, and tongue, and our five active senses like the hands and legs, we become involved in the material condition. Thus, we are subjected to the tribulations known as Adhyatmika, Adhidaivika, and Adhibhautika. The mind is the center because the mind creates all these things. As soon as the material object is struck, however, the mind is affected and we suffer. For example, with the material elements, the working senses and the knowledge gathering senses, we create a very nice car. And when the car is accidentally smashed in a collision, the mind suffers, and to the mind, the living entity suffers. The fact is that the living entity, while concocting with the mind, creates the material condition. Because matter is destructible, through the material condition, the living entity suffers. Because matter is destructible, through the material condition, the living entity suffers. Otherwise, the living entity is detached from all material conditions. When one comes to the Brahman platform, the platform of spiritual life, fully understanding that he is a spirit soul, Aham Brahmasmi, he is no longer affected by lamentation or hankering. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 1854, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatmana Shochati Na Kangshati. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 15:7, the Lord says, Mamevamsha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manah sashtani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses which include the mind. The living entity is actually part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is unaffected by material conditions. But because the mind, mana, is affected, the senses are affected, and the living entity struggles for existence within this material world.
So Krishna tells that how the mind should be utilized so that all obstacles of material world can be overcome. So he tells in Gita, Mat chitta sarva durgani, mat prasadat tarishyasi. मच्चित्ता सर्वदुर्गानि मत्प्रसादात् तरिष्यसि अथ चेत्वहंकारान् न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्षसि. So Lord is telling, when one's mind becomes conscious of Krishna, then one can pass over all obstacles of conditioned life by His grace. But if somebody is not attached to Krishna and he is attached to material elements and he wants to be whimsical and not surrender to Lord, then what happens? If, however, you do not work in such a consciousness but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So this is what happens with conditioned soul. He forgets the real friend, he forgets the real father, he forgets the real mother, and he gets stuck with all other temporary attachments. तस्मात् स्वस्थेन मनसा विमृश्य गतिमात्मना द्वैते ध्रुवार्थ विश्रम्भं त्यजोपशममाविश. Therefore, O King Chitraketu, carefully consider the position of the Atma. In other words, try to understand who you are, whether body, mind or soul. Consider where you have come from where you are going after giving up this body, and why you are under the control of material lamentation. Try to understand your real position in this way, and then you will be able to give up your unnecessary attachment. You will also be able to give up the belief that this material world or anything not directly in touch with service to Krishna is eternal. Huh? Anything not directly in touch with service to Krishna is eternal.
Is eternal.
Huh? Okay, okay. Thus you will obtain peace.
The Krishna consciousness movement is factually endeavoring to bring human society to a sober condition. Because of a misdirected civilization, people are jumping in materialistic life like cats and dogs, performing all sorts of abominable sinful actions and becoming increasingly entangled. The Krishna consciousness movement includes self-realization because one is first directed by Lord Krishna to understand that one is not the body but the owner of the body. When one understands this simple fact, he can direct himself towards the goal of life. Because people are not educated in terms of the goal of life, they are working like madmen and becoming more and more attached to the material atmosphere. The misguided man accepts the material condition as everlasting. One must give up his faith in material things and give up attachment for them. Then one will be sober and peaceful.
Like ordinary life also, if somebody knows the minister, he has some connection with minister, how much he has a ego and how much he will be free from the anxieties of the torture given by the ordinary servants of government. So same way, somebody has identified himself with the Supreme Lord, then they will be relieved from the clutches of Maya as well as the clutches of Yamraj. Srinarduvacha etam mantropanisadam praticcha prayato mama yadharayan saptaratra drashta sankarshanam vibhu. My dear king, attentively receive from me a mantra which is most auspicious. After accepting it from me, in 7 nights you will be able to see the Lord face to face. Yatpadamulam srutya narendra purve sharvadayo brahmamiva dvitiya visrujya satsadiya matulanadhikam mahitvam prapur bhavanapi param nachiradupaiti. My dear king, in the former days Lord Shiva and other demigods took shelter of the lotus feet of Sankarshan. Thus they very immediately got freed from the illusion of duality and achieved unequaled and unsurpassed glories in spiritual life. You will very soon attain that very position. Okay? So Narad Muni is doing such a great favor on not only Chitraketu but anybody who is suffering in this world. Great Narada has relieved them from that material sufferings by giving Krishna to them. So here he is given the mantra to Chitraketu Maharaj. So same way the representatives of Narad Muni, Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters, they have given us Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And we also more or less in the situation of Chitraketu. We also lament for something. The cause may be different. Somebody may lament for sun, somebody may lament for some material other elements. But lamentation is for sure everybody has in this world. So if we want to get rid of this lamentation, then we should take the advice of our preceptors and whatever mantra they have given, we should chant nicely and perfect our spiritual life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I thank you very much for tolerating me for last 2 days. So if I spoke something wrong, please forgive me. And by slip of tongue, I said Urvashi used our Purrav as this toilet paper. That is the toilet paper used for wiping hands and face. Okay? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. रिकॉर्ड किए क्लास वो निकाल दो डन हरी बम वी आर डन और ना हरे कृष्ण